In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a template using Dreamweaver. The first step when creating a website, you need to go ahead and select your desktop and put a new folder on the desktop. Label it according to your actual website. So as you can see here, I have my DW template set up, and what I'm going to do now is open Dreamweaver and manage that site. So the first step would be to come over here where it says Manage Sites, or you can come up top here to where it says Site and Manage Sites. They're both the same thing, just in two different locations. Once you click that, we're going to go ahead and manage a new site, which means we're going to go ahead and store it locally so that we can access the files better and keep file management correct. So the first step we're going to do is click this button that says New Site. And in here I'm just going to call it Dreamweaver Template. But you can actually name this whatever you like, especially if you're doing a website. I typically name it the website itself. Let's see, Dreamweaver Template. And then local site folder, that is the root folder of your website, the main folder that is on the desktop that we just created. So go ahead and click this little folder icon, and we're going to navigate to the desktop. Desktop, and then there's our root folder right there. Click on that. Make sure that you have the files view like this. Hit choose, and yours you'll see no files at all. And then go ahead and hit save. And then now you can see that it loads up in here. So each time that you go to work on that website, it'll be loaded in your site area. We just hit done. Now you can see in the file panel that it actually manages the site, and you will not have these files, but once you create these files, they will show up like they do in mine. For the purposes of this video, I went ahead and created my default HTML page and my default CSS page. I will go ahead and include those files along with the video. Let me just explain to you what I did in each one of these. So I'm going to open my index.html and my stylesheet.css. So obviously we need an HTML page and we need a CSS page. So once I created my style sheet, which would be File, New, and then you go blank page, CSS, that would be how you create your style page, or you go HTML to create your HTML page. So you should have two files, one that is HTML and one that is CSS. The home site or the home page for your website should always be labeled index.html. This is because the server will not be able to recognize it unless it's called index or default. But right now, or the majority, is always named index. So we're just going to call it index. So what I'm going to do is, this is a standard layout. My container here, this is where my header is going to go, this is where my nav is going to go, this is where my text area is going to go, and my footer. And you can see here that I styled everything using my CSS. So I'll explain to you real quick what I did. So the first tag here is your container. That would be everything within this area here and this area here. It contains your whole web page. The next one I declared was my header. So now you can see that highlights blue. This is my header area. You can see I typed in this is my header. Same thing with the nav bar here. This is your nav area, and it's going to be declared by whatever width and height that you set. Now the text area is where I always put my text at, my information per page. And then my footer. My footer is going to stay the same on every page, just like my header and my nav are. So that's there defined in my div tag. And I'll show you a quick rundown of my CSS. So this declares the background color of my whole website using the default HTML tag. Then I have my ID pound container, and I'm setting that at a width of 990. Margin 0 space auto, that actually centers the container with whatever web browser you're using. Now the header, I set the width on that as well at 990 to match my container, and my height at 150. You can always change that depending on what size header you want. Same thing with a nav. I just did a default height of 45 pixels, which makes it look about this way. And then my text area, I actually just set the width alone. I don't want to set a height because if I set a height, it will not automatically scroll with each page. So I leave that height off of that. And then I set my footer up at 990 and height at 45 also. But like I said, if you wanted to change these, make them bigger or smaller, you would just come in here and change the size. Now the trick to making a template is to go ahead and have this information set up first. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create, let's say, 4 pages that we can go ahead and link in our template. That would be the home, the about, the contact, and products page. So to do that, first we need to create a unordered list. So we do UL for unordered list, tab that over, we're going to do an LI for list item, and then after home we want to make sure that we close that list item. So close LI. Oops, I'm going to put it in for me. I'm going to do return, I'm going to do an LI also, and then I'm going to close that one as well for my list item. And then I'm going to make my products page. I'm going to close that as well. And then one more link, I am going to make my contact us page, which is typical, the typical pages in any common website. And then don't forget at the end to close your unordered list. So close UL. I'm going to save that. I'm going to click over here to view. And you can see by default they're set up to scroll down instead of going across. There's an easy fix for this also. We also don't want the bullets to show up also because we want to have those as actual page links. So what we would do is just go into your style sheet. Under the nav, I'm going to draw a couple lines here. And these are known as list items. So in order to affect the list item, I have to create a CSS code that makes them go inline, and then we can also do padding and things like that. This tutorial is not to do all of that, so basically I'm just going to set it up and leave it as is. So what I'm going to do is a pound nav li for list item, open bracket, and then you can actually close it if you wanted to and put all the code in between. If you go over here, if you're not familiar with your code and you hit refresh, you can see the li is here. So we want to do a display inline and text declaration none. So I'm going to click that, and then oops, this one here, display inline. I'm going to hit apply and OK. And you can see here the code, text declaration none, display inline. And you can now see how the actual products are aligned across the nav bar. And you know, if you wanted to do some padding on the top, bottom, all corners, I would just do padding just to space it out a little bit and do like 10 pixels maybe. Let's see how that looks. You can see how it's spaced out a little more. Okay, so now we actually need to go ahead and create this template. So in order to do that, we go back to the source code. We highlight the word on the right hand side where it says text here, and we go to Insert, Template Objects, Editable Region. And what that's doing is it says here that it will convert it to a template. Well, that's great because that's exactly what we want to happen. So hit OK. Now this is the name for your editable region, so I'm typically going to call it text. That way it just matches so I know which area it's going to be in. I'm going to hit OK. Now you can see that it is an editable region by the green area. That defines that it's an editable region. That means when we create all of our pages, the only area that we're going to be able to edit is here. We can't edit this page, or I'm sorry, we can't edit this area, or this area on our other pages. The only area that we're going to be able to edit is this. So that being said, if you wanted to make any changes to your template, you would have to do that through the template file itself, which is indicated by a .dwt. So next what we have to do is save it. So let's do File, and make sure that you hit Save as a Template. If you save as, it's not going to work. So you have to do Save as a Template. This dialog box will show up. I'm not going to leave it named Index. I'm going to call it Dreamweaver Temp. And that's because if you have multiple sites with multiple templates, you want to make sure that it's declared for the site that you're using. So hit Save. Update links, you always say yes. Okay. Now we have our template done. So what I want you to do now is go over to your panel here, your right panel, right click on the index, go to Edit and Delete. And the reason why we want to do this is because we don't have that template applied to that page, and we want to make sure that our template's applied to every page. So once that's done, what I always recommend before you start making your pages is you close down your template. You can see here it says DWT for template here. You can also see a file folder that was made, and your template is going to be in that folder called templates. So I'm going to close this page. Now what I'm going to do is create my 4 pages. So we're going to go File, New, Page from Template. Now you can see your page is defined there. We're going to hit Create. And there we have it. You can see like the little no slash, that means you can't edit that, or that. But you can see if I come in here, I can edit whatever I want, which is exactly what we want. So for this is going to be our first page. It's going to be our home page. So we're going to name this Index. So we're going to File, save as, or save will work too. Make sure that it's in your DWT folder, and we're going to call it index. Then hit save. Now it's important that you don't keep saving and renaming because it does glitch in Dreamweaver. So it's better always to close this and go and create your new page. So file, new, blank page from template, create. We're going to make this the second one, which is the about. So go file, save, about. And you can see it's labeled about, and now you can see that the pages are showing up as well. So let's close this one. We're going to do it 2 more times. File, new, page from template, create, file, save, it's products.html. Save that, close it again, file, new, page from template, create, and contact, file, save, contact.html. So now you can see we have all of our 4 pages here and our style sheet plus our template. So now the only thing that left to do is to actually link these to our pages. In order to do that, we need to go ahead and open the DWT file. So I make sure everything's closed again. Dreamweaver likes to glitch, so I just make sure that everything's closed. I double click open my template file, and here's where I'm going to start linking it. So I'm just going to hover over the word and highlight home, come down to my folder icon, find the word index, and now you can see that it is in fact linked by the indication of the underline. We're going to do the same thing with the about page. So we're going to do the about, link that to the about page, open. Same thing with the products page, open, and contact. We're going to do the same thing. And once again, we're going to hit save. So do file, save. It should ask us to update these files, which is exactly what we want to see, because of the fact that we know that this file, all of these are actually going to be updated to have the new links updated in their pages. Update shows here files examined, files updated are 4, which is exactly what we want. So once you do that, that should have everything updated. Now what you can do is just start working on the individual pages, and that's pretty much how to make a template. But I just want to show you how it works real quick. So if we were to do this and go to view, whatever browser you want, if we click the home link, you can see up here it's indicated by the index. If we click the about, you can see it changes to the about page. If we hit the products page, it changes to that, and the same with the contacts. So we know that everything is working correctly and that our template project was successful. And it's very important that you create a template with every website that you do that has more than 1 page. Otherwise, it could be a total nightmare. Well, that's about it when it comes to making a Dreamweaver template. You can always have any questions. I'll answer them on YouTube, or you can email me as well. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the video.